4 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and call the regular meeting of Planning, Programming, and Zoning Commission to order. First item on the agenda, let me back up a minute. For everyone who is there in person, we do have several commissioners appearing by Zoom, and then as you can see, we have a couple commissioners there in person. So we kind of have this hybrid structure still due to COVID, and I'll delegate some authority there to Noel to help me kind of manage the chambers there. So first item on the agenda is approval of today's agenda. Any discussion, or do you have a motion to approve?
This is Eric Dunat on Zoom, Commissioner. I wanted to know whether we could combine items. Is that okay that we combine items A2 and B1, and then A3 and B2, but I could not find the items that we're dealing with, with the Andrew Lucent item.
Excuse me, but we don't
Except
have
for
an
the final
A3 or a
one.
B2.
It was located in the review committee notes, or the tech review committee notes. Was that one dispensed with?
Talking about the ones that were temporarily.
Yeah, so
combine ones that aren't on the.
if you wanted to combine some, you could do A2 and B1. And that's it, right?
Yeah. The other ones were withdrawn, Eric.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Do we have a motion then to approve the agenda?
So moved. Hold
So moved.
Second, Lystico.
Okay. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Next, we'll have approval of the minutes of the regular meeting from August 10th. Any discussion on those minutes? If not, do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved. Holdeman.
Second, Flynn.
Okay. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, minutes approved. Next, we'll have the financial report for July 2021, please.
This is Anderson with staff. So we're at the first month of the new year, which puts us at 8.3% is the target goal for expenditures. For expenses, we're at 11%, which is slightly higher. That's because some things are payable at the beginning of the year. For revenues, we're at 3%. As you break that out in categories, a lot of the things that are payable throughout the year are right on course. Some of the property sales and all that are a little bit behind, so we have some catching up to do with revenue.
This is Holdeman. I move we accept the budget as presented. Budget report, pardon me.
Surfling, I'll second it.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay. We will move on to oral presentations. This is a time when anyone in attendance, either there in person or on Zoom, who is here to speak on a non-agenda item, can step forward and give your name and address. Again, to clarify, this is if you're here to speak on an item that's not already on the agenda. Is there anyone appearing by Zoom or by phone?
There's no one in the chambers.
Okay. Then we'll move on to new business. The time is 4:05 p.m. and a hearing is scheduled at this time for a request by Northland Products Company to rezone approximately 5.19 acres from M1 Light Industrial District to M1CZ Light Industrial Conditional Zoning District to allow for compactors and drum washing systems in relation to a petroleum operation located at 2830 Geraldine Drive. This is located on pages 16 through 24 of the packet. At this time, we receive and place on file a statement of verification signed by Patty McGee, stating I, Patty McGee, do hereby certify that a copy of the attached letter, overview, aerial, and notice map were mailed to each individual on the attached list by regular mail on August 30th, 2021. So I have a motion to receive and place this notice on file.
So moved.
Second, Holdeman.
Okay, all those in favor, state aye.
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 Okay, any opposed? Okay, motion carried. So first we will have the staff report, please.
Okay, this is Andera staff as was noted at Northland.
Tim, can
Oops, Tim, we lost you.
Oh,
You muted.
I hit the wrong button. As it was mentioned, Northland Products Company is looking to rezone that 5.19 acres from M1 to M1 CZ conditional zoning district. The purpose of the rezone is to have compactors and drum washing systems in relation to their petroleum production system. No petroleum products will be produced at this location, but drums used in their process at their main location at 1004 Rainbow Drive will be cleaned here at 2830 Geraldine Road, and they'll also be compacting plastic containers in a compactor at the location on Geraldine Road. Would not appear that this request would negatively impact the surrounding area or vehicular or pedestrian traffic in the area. The site is already developed for light industrial uses, and there would be approximately 3 employees at this location and about 2 to 4 trucks per day accessing and leaving the site. Property zone M1 has been zoned that way since the adoption of the ordinance in 1969. The existing zoning in the area is M1 light industrial, which has existing industrial uses to the north. South is Highway 218 and Georgia State Park, zoned A1 agricultural. And then east and west are also zoned M1 light industrial, and that has existing development and vacant development land. Approximately about the west 50% of the property, angling from the northwest to the southeast, is in the Zone X 500-year floodplain, but there are no special requirements for this floodplain designation through the City of Waterloo zoning ordinance. The applicant did recently purchase the building, and they plan to have operations there to compact plastic containers, which they said mostly consist of 5-gallon pails, and a washing system to clean drums related to their petroleum products company. The M2 heavy industrial district allows refining or wholesale storage of petroleum or petroleum products or gasoline, but none of those activities will be taking place at this location. Due to this proposed use being used and related to a petroleum products business, which is not permitted in the M1, the request for the conditional zoning is being proposed to allow for this use in the less intensive M1 light industrial districts. The drums that will be there that are cleaned and their remnants will have some petroleum products in it and antifreeze in them. And the applicant did note to me that the equipment used to clean captures those products, and they are not released into the sanitary sewer system. So they have their own way of disposing of those petroleum antifreeze waste. As mentioned, there are 3 employees that will be at the site, which requires 1 space for each 2 employees. Through review of the site, there are 18 parking stalls in the parking lot on the west side of the building, in front of the building. Staff is recommending approval that the request to rezone the 5.19 acres from light industrial district to M1 CZ conditional zoning district at 2830 Geraldine Road is approved for the following reasons. The request would appear to be compatible with the surrounding area, which is comprised of light industrial uses, would not negatively impact the surrounding area, would not negatively impact traffic or pedestrian traffic conditions in the area. And the request is in conformance with the comprehensive plan for this area, which designates it as industrial. And with the conditions that the final site plan meet all applicable city codes, but not limited to parking, landscaping, and drainage, etc. And 2, that there is no outside storage of materials or other items related to the operation of this business.
Okay, do we have the applicant on the phone or there in person, Noel?
Yes, there is.
Does the applicant want to come forward?
Hello, thank you for this time.
This is Flynn. Thank you for coming. Would the containers that are going to be cleaned, I mean, obviously this is very visible from the road. So is that all going to be done indoor, outdoor, and the storage of, would that create an eyesore driving by there?
All activities will be conducted indoors.
Okay.
There will be no industrial activities on the 218 side.
Okay.
Trucks will be driving up to the front of the building, which is the Geraldine Road side.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, they would back into the docks, the drums would come off, they would get cleaned, and then they go back to our other building to be refilled and repurposed. So they're not a scrap or a waste. That's what we're trying to do.
Thank you.
Sir, can you state your name for the record?
Brian Motzko, Motzko.
Thank you.
Any other initial questions for Mr. Motzko?
Are you the owner of the proposed
No,
land?
I'm one of their vice presidents. I've been there about 29 years.
Okay.
I do all of the health, safety, and compliance, EH&S for EPA and OSHA and all that.
And how has that been used up to this point?
The building
That
itself,
area? Uh-huh.
just strictly warehousing. So when we build product and package it at 1000 Rainbow Drive, it's delivered over there in trucks as like a distribution area because we don't have enough space at our current property.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there anyone on the phone or by Zoom who is here to speak on this agenda item? Okay. And Noel, do you have anyone else there who's here to speak on this specific agenda item?
There is no one getting up.
Okay. Does the commission have any additional questions for staff or the applicant?
This is Hold'em, and I move we close the meeting, or the hearing, I'm sorry.
I'll second that.
Okay, all those in favor, state aye.
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 Any
Aye.
opposed? Same sign.
Thank you for your consideration.
Okay. Okay, the public hearing is closed. We have a motion from the commission.
I wanted to check with Noel. There hasn't been any other interest in that land as far as for development or anything in that area?
We've actually had quite a few buildings built, this is Anderson with staff, in that area. That was 3 RISE projects to create Geraldine there. I think we've got about 5 or 6 buildings that have been built out there. This building was previously used for another use that has since left it, and then Northland has purchased it. So we think this is a good trend of having good traffic and industrial development in the area.
Thank you.
This is Hold'em, and I'll make the motion that the request to rezone the approximately 5.19 acres from M1 Light Industrial District to M1CZ Conditional Zoning District located at 2830 Geraldine Road be approved for the following reasons. It would appear to be compatible with the surrounding area, which is comprised of light industrial uses, would not appear to have a negative impact upon the surrounding area. The request would not appear to have a negative impact upon vehicular and pedestrian traffic in the area, and it's in conformance with the future land use map and comprehensive plan for this area. Subject to the following, that the final site plan meets all applicable city codes, including but not limited to parking, landscaping, drainage, etc., and there's no outside storage of materials or other items related to the operations of the business.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, all those in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carried. Okay, the time is 4:16 p.m. and a hearing is scheduled on a request by John Horner to rezone approximately 4.86 acres from R3 Multiple Residence District to C2 Commercial District to construct a self-storage facility at 310 Upland Drive on pages 25 through 41 of the packet. At this time, we should receive and place on file a statement of verification signed by Patty McGee stating, I, Patty McGee, do hereby certify that a copy of the attached letter, overview, aerial, notice map, photo, and phase 1 and 2 aerials were mailed to each individual on the attached list by regular mail on August 30th, 2021. Can I have a motion to receive and place this notice on file?
So moved.
So moved.
And the second?
I'll second it. Sir Flynn.
Okay. Okay, all those in favor state aye.
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 And this is the, any opposed, sorry. Motion carried. We are going to combine this agenda item with the request by the same applicant for a special permit to allow for a storage facility in the proposed C2 commercial district located at 310 Upland Drive, and that's item B1 on the agenda. So at this time, we'll have the staff report, please.
To start off with staff, the applicants are requesting rezone the property in question for a redevelopment of the former senior care facility as self-storage facility. The request could have a negative impact on the neighborhood as the property requesting rezone is surrounded by residential. The zoning ordinance recommends that storage buildings in the C2 commercial classification be in the rear of the property, and this would be highly visible from US Highway 63, so the request would not appear to meet the intent of the ordinance. The request could have a negative impact on vehicular and pedestrian traffic as the property is located on Upland Drive, which is a local road that connects to Martin Road, which is also a local road, and Amesboro Avenue, which is a minor arterial. However, all traffic would have to travel through residential neighborhoods to reach the property. Currently, there are sidewalks on a portion of the south side of Upland Drive. However, they do not connect with Amesboro Avenue. Staff would recommend sidewalks on this site along Upland Drive with redevelopment of the project. The area of the proposed site is currently zoned R3, Multiple Residence District, and has been zoned as such since the adoption of the zoning ordinance in 1969. Surrounding uses and their zoning is to the north is US Highway 63 and residential zoned R2, 1 and 2 family residence district. To the south is residential zoned R2, 1 and 2 family residence district. To the east is residential zoned R3, multiple residence district, and R2, 1 and 2 family residence district. And to the west is US Highway 63, residential and open space, zoned R2, 1 and 2 family residence district, and A1 agricultural district. Homes in the area were built between 1964 and 1980. Multifamily residential was built in 1980, and the former nursing home was built in 1966. The zoning ordinance does not specifically require buffering between a C2 and R3 uses, except for vehicular use areas, but given the requested rezoning, layout, and proximity to residential, staff would recommend screening. It would also, They will also need to submit stormwater detention plan with the engineering department. The future land use maps designates this area as low-density residential area, and proposed development does not appear to be compatible with the comprehensive plan. The applicant is requesting to rezone approximately 4.86 acres from R3 multiple residence district to C2 commercial district to construct a self-storage facility at 310 Upland Drive. The building on the property in question was built as a nursing home in 1966, and at the same time as the homes on the south side of Upland Drive were constructed. The building served as a nursing home until 2013, when Care Initiatives moved to a new building on Heath Street near Allen Hospital. The building was then sold to Americans for Independent Living, who requested a special permit to create housing for veterans. That plan was opposed by neighbors, not because of the proposed veterans housing, but because the applicant also discussed having drug and psychiatric rehabilitation at the facility, which concerned the area residents. The Planning, Programming, and Zoning Commission took no action on the request at their November 2017 meeting, and the applicant never brought the item back for a vote. It was reported that by the current applicant that Americans for Independent Living was using the building as professional offices, which is only permitted in the R4 multiple residence district, not in R3 districts. Americans for Independent Living lost the building to tax sale, and it was sold to Delphina Land Holdings 16 LLC in May of 2021, and then turned around and sold to another investment group in June of 2021. Staff has multiple concerns about this request. First is that it's a commercial self-storage buildings do not fit the character of the residential neighborhood. There are single-family homes along Upland Drive with single-family homes and multifamily homes located along Fairway Lane, a private street to the east of the property. Zoning ordinance lists many storage facilities in the M1 Light Industrial District. Mini storage is also allowed in C2 Commercial District, but with only a special permit process, and such uses are intended to be at the rear of the sites, not in highly visible areas. Staff also has concerns about, as the only way to access a proposed business is via local and residential streets. US Highway 63 is not directly accessible from the property, and customers wishing to access the building from US Highway 63 would have to use Martin Road or Amesboro Avenue, then Upland Drive, all which are residential streets. While storage places do not see the amount of traffic as some other commercial businesses, staff still has concerns about the routing of commercial traffic through residential neighborhoods, potential conflicts with pedestrians, noise, etc. Staff further has concerns with the aesthetics of the proposed business. The proposal calls for installing a fence along the property without proper buffering. The fence would degrade from the residential character of the neighborhood, as fencing on a commercial property can go up to 8 feet, even in the front yard. Staff would like to see a buffer between any fence installed at the site and the residential structures on Upland Drive and Fairway Lane, and require that fencing along the south and east property lines be 6 foot tall, minimum solid type residential-oriented fences. The applicant is proposing to use existing buildings as phase one of the project, then infill with additional storage units as the main buildings fill up. The applicant shown in the site plan his intention to use recycled asphalt, which not be permitted by the zoning ordinance. The future buildings that are shown around the perimeter of the property with phase two would not meet the proper setbacks or provide adequate vehicle access between the buildings, so phase two site plan is inadequate currently for approval. Engineering will also require that a stormwater detention plan be submitted for the first phase of the project, as the applicant intends to use recycled asphalt on area property that currently have grass. In addition, the building department will require architectural drawings of their proposed changes to the building. While staff is recommending denial of the request due to the above issues, if the commission does wish to recommend approval of the request, then staff recommends that the new zoning be changed to CP Plan Commercial District, so that the property will be required to go through a site plan amendment process, and staff can ensure that any development matches the character of the neighborhood, and that no site plan be approved as part of this request, which would require an applicant to come back through the site plan amendment process with a more detailed site plan. Staff would also recommend that if the rezoning is approved, there would be a condition prohibiting outside storage of vehicles or equipment. Staff also received today a petition against the proposed rezone, signed by 89 residents, and we also received a letter in opposition to it from another building on the east side of Fairway Lane. Therefore, staff recommends that the request by John Horner to rezone approximately 4.86 acres from R3 multiple residence district to C2 commercial district to construct a self-storage facility at 310 Upland Drive be denied for the following reasons. The request could have a negative impact on the surrounding area by essentially allowing industrial use within a residential neighborhood. The request could have a negative impact on pedestrian and traffic conditions in the surrounding area by placing commercial use within a residential area with only accessible by local roads. We would be increasing the conflict points, and the request is not in compliance with the comprehensive plan and future land use map. If the commission does recommend approval of the request, staff recommends that the request by John Horner to rezone approximately 4.86 acres from R3 multiple residence district to CP planned commercial district to construct a self-storage facility, 310 Upland Drive, be for the following reasons. The request would create a new building in a new business in a building that's been largely empty since 2013. New business would have new tax revenue to the city with the following conditions: that the following site plan meet all applicable city codes, regulations, etc., not including but not limited to parking, landscaping, screening, drainage, etc., that a buffer be created between fencing installed on the site and adjacent residential structures, which would include a 4-foot hedge and trees, and that the fencing along the south and east property line be a solid fence with minimum 6 foot tall. The applicant intends to, if the applicant intends to continue to use Fairway Lane, that upgrades be made to the private street for proper stormwater maintenance, meeting commercial requirements for hard surfacing and for added traffic load, that sidewalks be installed along Upland Drive, that a site plan and site elevations be submitted before the request moves to City Council, or the rezone be approved with no approved site plan, and the request go back to the site plan amendment process with a site plan and site elevations prior to redevelopment of the site, and that no storage of vehicles or equipment be allowed at the site other than within the fully enclosed building. And then the special permit is basically the same, so.
Thank you, John. Is Mr. Horner either on the phone or there in person?
Nobody's coming.
Well, somebody's raised their hand in the back.
Is there anyone present on behalf of the applicant? Any initial questions from the commission for staff?
This is Flynn. Has asbestos been checked in that building?
Good question.
I am not sure.
I think that needs to be done.
This is Hold'em, and I would assume they probably did that when they were looking at it for veterans housing. But I wouldn't, don't know for sure.
Yeah, this is Anderson with staff. I'm not sure. I know that they know that there was asbestos in the building. I'm not sure if it was tested and removed properly, as the property did exchange ownership through the tax sale process.
Multiple times. And as far as the sidewalk, if it would to be approved, that would be the cost of the developer, correct?
That's
on
correct.
Upland. And they're aware of that.
Okay. Is there anyone on the phone or by Zoom who is here to speak on this agenda item? Okay. Noel, I'll turn it over to you. Is there anyone there that wants to speak on this agenda item?
Yes, we have some.
Okay. Please come to the microphone and make sure you speak directly into the microphone so those of us on Zoom can hear you, and then state your name and your address, please.
Steve Bedard. I live at 2317 Pelican Road. I've lived there for 20 years with my wife and family. My wife and I and our neighbors have collected the signatures of 89 homeowners in the area who are against the rezoning for several reasons. One reason is that there are no other commercial properties in the neighborhood. Many of the homeowners and taxpayers that have populated this neighborhood have made the decision to build their homes and live in this neighborhood based in part of the access to a quiet residential neighborhood. We are concerned that the storage units will increase crime rates. We have 2 examples in the past year that made the career of crimes in Waterloo at storage units. We are certain that the impact on pedestrian and motor vehicle traffic traveling on Upland Drive would be substantial. Traffic congestion and noise pollution would increase. We are concerned that the facility would be an eyesore to the neighborhood and could potentially drop property values. Light pollution would increase and cause problems for adjacent dwellings. We are concerned that the rainwater retention ponds would contribute to already existing sewage problems. And lastly, there are several existing storage facility units in the area. For example, one on 343 Fletcher Avenue, 1.2 miles away, and 710 Ainsborough Avenue, 1.8 miles away. Thank you.
Thank you.
Does anyone else
Anybody
want to
else?
speak on this, on behalf of this item? There is no one else. Virginia.
Okay.
This is Holdeman. I move we close the hearing.
Second, Leistico.
Okay. All those in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the public hearing is closed. Do we have a motion from the commission?
Yes, this is Leistico. I motion that we deny the request by John Horner to rezone approximately 4.86 acres from R3 multiple residence district to C2 commercial district to construct a self-storage facility at 310 Upland Drive for the following reasons. The request would have a negative impact on the surrounding area by essentially allowing industrial use within a residential neighborhood. The request could have a negative impact on pedestrian traffic conditions within the surrounding area. And the request is not in compliance with the comprehensive plan or future land use map, and additionally, overwhelming opposition from residents in the area.
I'll second it.
Go ahead.
That's Surfling.
Okay. Any discussion by the commission?
We need to add the special permit to that, Cody?
No, I'm not going to
No,
put it in
that's
there.
approval.
Cody, this is Eric.
We can, if I'm correct, we can do a second motion to.
Couldn't he just amend his?
But if his motion was to deny the request, and those special conditions would be if we approved the request.
No, not the special conditions, the special permit. So item number B1.
Oh, yeah.
B1.
I will also add as friendly amendment, denying item B1 for the same reason. Sorry about that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I didn't want to get into the whole.
Okay, so just for clarification, the motion on the table is to deny the request in A2 and B1 on the agenda.
Correct.
3. Okay.
This is
All right.
Flynn,
Sorry.
Virginia,
Go
sorry.
ahead.
Because if we're denying the C2, then B1 would be null and void because it's allowing for a storage facility in the C2 district. And
Yeah, but it's
so-
on the agenda, don't we have to?
And
act
since
on
you're a
it?
recommending body, that way the Board of Adjustment has a recommendation of denial on that.
Okay.
So
Commissioner
Surfling,
Dunat, did you
wanna
have
second
something?
both? Okay. I think we're good.
Yeah,
Thank you.
So this is Commissioner Dunat. I was just asking if Cody wanted to deny item B1, but that was been addressed in the discussion, so I'm fine.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Any additional discussion by the commission?
And Virginia, do you want to do a roll call on this?
Yes. Yep. Okay, well, if there's no further discussion, we'll vote on this by roll call. Okay. Greg, how do you vote?
Well, let me clarify. If I vote yes, that means I'm voting to deny. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay, then I vote yes.
Okay, Eric?
Yes to deny on both items.
Okay. Sue?
Yes.
Patricia?
Yes.
Cody?
Yes.
Okay, and the chair also votes yes. So motion carried.
For everyone here for this item, so the Planning Commission is a recommending body, which means that the applicant, since it's been denied, the applicant, we'll make contact with the applicant to see if he wants to move forward. If he does, it would go to City Council, and then it would also go to the Board of Adjustment for the two actions. I do see that there's a phone number on the petition, and so we'll make contact with you to update you. Otherwise, we'll try to send out letters to everyone as well on the upcoming meetings. Thank you.
Thank you, Noel. Okay, the next item on the agenda is a request by L&BB LLC for a final plat of Southland Park 6th Edition, a 6-lot residential subdivision, a replat of lots C5 and C6 of Southland Park 3rd Edition in the R3-RP Planned Multiple Residence District located southeast of 2950 Southland Drive. Can we have the staff report, please?
Just starting off with staff. Applicants requesting to subdivide the property for development of 6 single-family homes just south of Charm Drive and southeast of 2950 Southland Drive. The request for the final plat would appear to have a positive impact surrounding the area. The proposed residential uses would blend well with the surrounding neighborhood and would consist of commercial condos and single-family homes. The average lot size is 250 feet, or within the 250 feet is 17,968 square feet. The average lot size for the 6 proposed residential lots are 12,100 square feet. The proposed final plat does not appear to have a negative impact on the surrounding traffic conditions in the area. The proposed development will be served by Southland Drive and Charm Drive, which are classified as local streets, and Highway 63, which is classified as a principal arterial. There is a sidewalk on the south side of Southland Drive and the north side of Charm Drive. As part of the approval plat, a sidewalk would be required along the south side of Charm Drive. The area in question was rezoned from A1 Agricultural District to R3 RP Planned Residence District on November 24th, 1975. The property in question is comprised of 2 lots that were originally designated for commercial use and later designated as residential for duplexes. A site plan amendment was approved by City Council on March 1st, 2021 to allow for construction of 6 single-family homes on the 2 lots. Surrounding land uses and their zoning designation are as follows. To the north, single-family homes zoned R3 RP Planned Residence District. To the south, multiple family homes zoned R3 RP Planned Residence District. To the east, a single-family home zoned R3 RP Planned Residence District. To the west is a vacant lot, professional office and commercial, and zone CP Planned Commercial District. The final plat is consistent with the future land use map, which designates this as mixed commercial, medium to high density residential, professional office, compatible commercial. The applicant is requesting to construct 6 homes along the south and east sides of Charm Drive as part of a final plat request. The R3 RP Planned Residence District is site plan specific, and changes to the site plan were approved by City Council on March 1st, 2021. The preliminary plat was approved by Planning and Zoning recommended for approval by Planning and Zoning Commission at their June 8th meeting, and the City Council reviewed the request at the regular meeting on September 7th and approved of it. The size of lots range from 10,727 square feet to 15,759 square feet, with an average lot size of 12,100 square feet. Each property shows a 25-foot setback from the front and 30-foot setback from the rear. Setbacks all meet the minimum requirements of the R3RP plan. Residence District and match what is shown in was approved on March 1st, 2021. The final plat contains legal description of property lines, date, adjoining subdivisions, deed of dedication, and an engineer's certificate of survey, easements, and right-of-way widths. Therefore, staff recommends that the final plat for Southland Park 6th Edition be approved for the following reasons. The plat should have a positive impact on the surrounding area. The plat would not have a negative impact on traffic conditions in the area, and the plat would create additional infill development lots.
Okay, any questions for John? Okay. Is someone from VG or VJ Engineering either on the phone or there in person, Noel?
I believe Wendell's on the call.
Lucas with VJ Engineering. Happy to answer any questions. Pretty simple. We would just ask that you move it forward to council.
Great. If there are no questions, is anyone else on Zoom or on the phone here to speak on this agenda item? No, what about there in person? Is there anyone else?
Is there anyone that wants to speak on this one? There is not.
This is Flynn. I just was wondering, as far as currently the sewer and everything is working fine there, there is no problem with this added capacity?
This is Anderson with staff. At the technical review committee meeting, there was no concerns raised by city staff.
Thank you.
We have a motion.
This is Holdeman. I'll move that the final plat for, Southland Park 6th Edition be approved for the following reasons. It should have a positive impact on the surrounding area. It should not have a negative impact on traffic conditions in the area, and it'll create additional infill development lots.
Second, do not.
Okay, any discussion?
When will the sidewalk be required to be installed by?
I was going to say, as they build homes, and I believe the new wording in the subdivision deed of dedication will be up to 5 years after that if it's sold.
After that, what?
If it's sold. So if you bought 2 lots and only built a house on one of them, you'll still have to put a sidewalk on the second lot within a 5-year time period.
Gotcha.
And the sidewalk is the cost of the homeowner?
That is correct.
Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carried. All right, the next item on the agenda is a request by Andrew Lucen to annex 78.37 acres of land south of East Orange Road located at and adjacent to 6033 Deizert Road. We have the staff report, please.
This is Dornoff with staff. Andrew Lucen is requesting to annex the property for development of a commercial campground. The campground will require rezoning and land after annexation, and staff is recommending it a planned commercial district. The area to be annexed is along the southern border of the current city of Waterloo limits at Orange Road. The land to be annexed is currently being farmed with an existing farmhouse on the site with agricultural and accessory buildings. Surrounding land uses include to the north residential land with a single-family home subdivision and mobile home park developments. To the east is agricultural land on LaPorte Road. Further east, Zone A and in the unincorporated Black Hawk County. To the south is agricultural land, Zone A in unincorporated Black Hawk County. To the west is agricultural land, one residential home, Zone A in unincorporated Black Hawk County. The area is served by East Orange Road to the north and Deizert Road to the west. Both are classified as collectors. The site is also served by LaPorte Road to the east, which is classified as principal arterial. There are no sidewalks in the area. The property has been zoned A agricultural district since 1982 when the county zoning ordinance was adopted and is located outside the corporate boundaries. The area would be annexed into the city of Waterloo as part of this request. And it will initially be zoned, any land annexed into the city is zoned A1 agricultural district and then would need to be rezoned. The area to the north was developed primarily from 1977 to present with single-family homes. The mobile home park was established in 1977 also, and two of the development areas were built up simultaneously. Recent developments include the KOA Campground, Lost Island Water Park, and Lost World Theme Park have been brought more tourism-related traffic and activity to the area. The zoning, City of Waterloo zoning ordinance does not specifically require a buffer wall or park to be established between the CP district and R4RP district, but will be discussed during the rezone process. The Black Hawk County future land use map designates this area to be annexed as agricultural. The City of Waterloo future land use map shows the entire area inside the city limits as residential, mixed residential, medium, high density residential, professional offices, neighborhood commercial. The applicant is requesting annex the land to develop commercial campground to be connected to the City of Waterloo services and utilities. The property currently adjoins the City of Waterloo along its northerly property line, East Orange Road. Property adjoining to the west, south, and east would still be unincorporated Black Hawk County. Once annexed, the land would automatically be zoned A1 agricultural. Therefore, staff recommends the request by Andrew Lewson on behalf of landowners for the voluntary annexation of 78.37 acres, generally located at the southeast corner of East Orange Road and Deizert Road for the purpose of campground development be approved for the following reasons. The request in conformance with the goals and policies of the comprehensive plan due to other similar uses in close proximity with LaPorte Road corridor. The request would appear to be beneficial to the development of the southeast portion of the community. The request would put the land into the city limits of the primary growth area, and the request is a voluntary annexation.
John, I have a question. Could you go over what the zoning would be on that if it is annexed?
Any land annexed is automatically zoned A1, so then it would need to be rezoned to something else.
Okay, because the way I read the packet, it sounded like it would be zoned C2.
Yeah, originally there was a rezoning and special permit request on the,
okay.
That's been put up, or
CP.
Yeah, CP, but that has been put up. The applicant requested that be made later, so.
Well, and talking with this is Anderson with staff, and talking with the attorneys, they didn't think it would be correct for us to take any action on the rezoning or the special permit until the annexation was complete.
Makes sense.
And then how does that rezoning work from agriculture A1 to what for campground use?
So then they would come back, so let's say the annexation goes all the way through the city process, and then there's a state process for approvals, then they would come back to this board for a request to rezone.
To what then? Is it a commercial?
They'd have to be at least C2. I would imagine we would recommend CP, which would be site plan specific, so that they couldn't change it without coming back through this process again, notifying neighbors.
And thank you for clarifying for me.
So this is Dunat, Commissioner Dunat. Noel, you were having your discussion and answering those questions. This then does explain why items A3 and B2 were removed from the agenda, but were in the technical review notes, in the technical review committee notes.
That is correct, yeah. Sorry for the confusion. Those were discussed at tech, and then as we went through the process, we took them off the full agenda.
Thank you.
So basically, all we're doing right now is either recommending or denying the annexation, which would go to council.
That is correct.
Any other initial questions for staff? Okay, I think we have Mr. Lucen on Zoom or phone here. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. I'm here.
Hi. Can you state your name and address for the record, and then feel free to address the commission if you'd like.
Sure. My name is Andrew Lusson. I live at 750 Hunter Drive in Evansdale, Iowa. With this proposed annexation, yes, we would be requesting after the annexation for the rezoning. So yes, we would be coming back through the city and planning and zoning then to give the layout proposal and everything. I did send a letter out to all the residents adjoining the property with my personal email and phone number to answer any questions. I did speak to Mr. Dennis Lichtig, who is the resident to the west of me. He is in favor of this after having multiple discussions with him on all the questions he had due to the layout and everything. And then, again, I left myself open for any discussion with any other residents that did contact me and did not receive any other questions from any other residents.
This is Commissioner Wilbur. Mr. Lusson, has the process in terms of it needing to be annexed first and then later rezoned, has that been explained to you and
yes,
as well?
Yes, I've been in numerous discussions with Mr. Knoll and Mr. Eric on this.
Perfect. Okay. Any other questions from the commission?
Just making sure, if you did extend all the utilities, it would be the cost of the applicant.
That is correct.
Nothing to the city. Thank you.
Okay. Is there anyone else on the phone or by Zoom here to speak on this agenda item?
Somebody?
Noel, is there anyone else there in the chambers?
Yes, there is.
Okay.
My name is Maxine Carrot, and my husband and I live at 6200 Folk Road, and it's Black Hawk County. Our property lies directly east of what you're talking about, and I don't know if this is the time or place, because I understand this is something about annexation only, but our concerns are if it were annexed at that point, we're concerned about the water drainage that goes towards our property. We live on the east side of Highway 218/LaPorte Road. And I have photos of every time we get massive rains of how we're affected by that and stuff. We have had rains nonstop in the 20 years that we have owned that property. And the county and state have tried to work with it, but the water goes either south or comes dumps on us, and that's my concern. Is this the time and place to bring it up or not? I realize this is just annexation. Maybe I should wait for a later time, but we got the letter.
No, this is Anderson with staff. This is the perfect time to bring it up, so we're aware of those things. The city engineer, Jamie Knutson, is on the line as well, so he can hear that to look into
And
any additional.
I brought pictures of what it looks like every time we get massive rains. what our property looks like and the neighbors around us. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Can you, Ms. Carrot, can you get those to the staff there? The photos? Thank you. Is there anyone else there to speak on this agenda item?
Yes, there is.
Hi, my name is Sarah Blake. I live at 3111 Violet Drive, next to the property in discussion here. I live there with my husband and our 3 children that are 2, 4, and 6. And we lived there for 4 years now, a short time. But we've lived in Waterloo our whole lives and wanted to stay in Waterloo, but in an area that was kind of out, you know, in the country, but not, because we love Waterloo. So we love looking out our front window and seeing those open fields and open air, and our children love it too. So when we talk about annexing, you know, annexation should preserve and enhance the quality of life for us and our neighbors, not cause sprawl, traffic congestion, environmental damage with few positive effects. This proposal will cause urban sprawl, increase traffic to an already dangerous intersection at Orange and Deizert. You can see police reports. There's always people running those stoplights or stop sign. There's been accidents where people have been killed there, as well as this proposal causing environmental damage in regards to water drainage issues that we already have present in the neighborhood. Like I said, I've only been there for 4 short years, but I did forget to mention I'm the president of our Southdale Neighborhood Association, and talking with my neighbors who have been there for 40 years, talking about the history of the drainage issues and that being partially rectified, but still being an issue. In talking with my neighbors in Southdale who are affected by this proposal, we've also been discussing it with our neighbors, the residents and neighborhoods surrounding us, and we've obtained 254 signatures in opposition of annexing and rezoning the approximate 73.38 acres from A1 agricultural district to CP planned commercial district. And I know in the documentation there, it said in order to construct a campground at and adjacent to 6033 Deizert Road. So I do have, I have more than one copy if you'd like, but this is the original. And I did also want to note that Mr. Lusson said when he spoke to us that no other neighbors reached out to him. And we did reach out to him from our Southdale Neighborhood Association email asking more details. And I have a copy of that email as well. So we have reached out to him. So I have a copy of that if you wanted to.
And what was the response you got when you reached out to him?
He was very polite and open with us that we just asked why pulling out the campground proposal, because we did put that on our petition, the annexing as well as the campground proposal. So both matters are on that because when we obtained it, that's what we were working with. But we asked why that was being pulled out, and he said he had heard from residents that there were water and drainage issues, and so he pulled that back because our understanding was that was going to be tied into Dahlia in our neighborhood, which already has water issues down there. And if you just walk down the street, you'll see one corner there is wet all the time. So he did say it was pulled back for that reason, and that was still his plan, though, to continue the development of that, but it would be in the future. And brought several neighbors with me today, and they'll also be speaking in our behalf as well. Okay. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any initial questions for her?
I was just going to ask, on our recommendations, it says that it is a voluntary annexation, but you're saying you are opposed to it, correct?
Correct. We are opposed to it.
Okay.
Very opposed.
The voluntary part would be just for the land to be annexed.
This is Schrader
owns
with
the
staff.
land right now?
It's in the name, we've. You have the petition. So there's quite a few names, and they all jointly own it, I believe, as like a
undivided interest. They have an agreement to sell it to Mr. Lusson, and they have all signed the petition to have it annexed. So the owners of the property in question are voluntarily asking it to be annexed in. So adjacent neighbors are the ones that have signed the petition are opposed. So there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 different signatures on here. 12 are the current owners, and then 1 is the contract purchaser.
Thank you.
Do any of the owners live in the area?
Yes, you got hands up over here.
I don't know if I have documentation. He doesn't have, but I have 7 deed holders.
1 second, we can't hear you if you're not at the microphone.
You gotta come, state your name and address.
Go ahead.
I guess I have documentation to answer that question. There are
Give
7.
us your name and address,
Oh, Monica
please.
Ambrose, and I live on 5819 Dahlia Boulevard, and definitely opposed to it. But there's 7 deed holders. 5 of them are locally, 2 of them are out of state. And that was my question. Why isn't their name petitioned to annex this? And does Mr. Lucen have legal authority to request to have it annexed instead of the actual landowners?
This is Schrader with staff. There's 12 owners. They have signed the petition. I can get you a copy of that petition. The owners are David M. Mujita,
Yep.
Patrice Mujita, Joanne
That's
H.
not on the official assessor page. So if the
Okay,
city of Waterloo,
ma'am, you're going to have to let him finish first, please.
Yeah.
And then we'll give you a chance to talk.
Married couple.
You would want to look at the deed at the Blackhawk County Recorder's Office. Joanne H. Henson is the estate owner of the Joseph Henson. The Joanne Henson is the estate. Joseph Henson is the executor of that estate. Owns an interest. Troy J. Lindeholm, Carolyn Lindeholm, Ashley N. Marsh, Darius Marsh, Floyd D. Mojita, Jill Mojita, John V. Mojita, Gail Mojita, and Donald Weisert Jr. are all the 12 individuals that have an interest, current ownership interest in that land, who have all signed, along with Mr. Andrew Lusson, a petition for voluntary annexation into the city of Waterloo.
so
And I can
they're
get you a copy of
petitioning
this.
annex, not because he doesn't have any ownership. So I guess I'm confused how he legally
He
can
has-
petition for it. Because since he don't own the land or
They
anything.
all are petitioning for it. He has an agreement to purchase.
Because it
They-
shows he brought this before the annex committee is why I'm confused. It doesn't say them under their
It says him
group
on
and
their
then-
behalf, and here's their signatures.
Okay.
I-
So I just
I
want to
can-
make sure it's legal and everything, because I mean, that would be checked into to see if legally he has the right to represent these people.
That would
instead
be
of them
this
just-
legal document.
just doing it, so. Okay, that's, I just wanted to make sure all the ducks in a row here and see, like I said, because it's saying he's petitioning for it. And actually, well, while I'm up here, I'm against that too. There's, I don't know if you guys have the paperwork, but there's actually 453 campsites going on that 78 acres. So that's 453 trucks, trailers going down Orange Road in 218 to this campground right next to these residential Westdale and Southdale housing addition, which causes a lot of safety issue. And I know it's been brought up about the deaths already at the intersections, but have you guys looked at the traffic that's going to be going to this for 453 campgrounds? And I believe there is a KOA campground like 6 miles away, and that campground only has 100 and some sites at it. So that's just in contrast to how many he's just packing on this campground right up to the road, so. All right, thank you. So, yep, I'm done. Unless anybody has any questions, so. No? Okay.
This is Commissioner Wilbur real quickly. Has it been explained, and do that all of the petitioners understand that even if this is if the annex is approved, there's no guarantee that the an application for rezoning would be approved. So in essence, it could be that it's annexed and then has to stay A1, zoned A1.
But we're just working on the annexation right now, not on the zoning.
Right, but I'm saying, are they okay
Yeah.
with still going forward, knowing that we aren't guaranteeing and not discussing the rezoning, and it potentially could stay A1 even when it's annexed?
So this is Anderson with staff. When you say they, I think you're meaning the owners. So it has been discussed with Mr. Lewson and the owners. Eric can correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, but if it was fully annexed and then the rezoning was denied, they would request that it be de-annexed.
This is Schrader with staff. Yes, the current owners have requested that if the annexation is approved and the development not proceeded, that it then be de-annexed or severed is the official state terminology. So that would be something that the city council will consider along with approving the annexation would be an agreement to sever.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying.
If the development did not move forward.
And we do have someone at the microphone.
I'm Bev Olds from 3126 Violet Drive. I'm also Vice President of the Southdale Neighborhood Association. My husband Robert and I live across East Orange Road, directly across from the agricultural land that you are trying to annex into the city. We are among the 23 addresses living within 200 feet of the proposal of the annexation. And I just wanted to speak that I'm going to mirror a lot of things that Sarah said, but the annexation goes far beyond those few of us, the 23 that were on the letter here. We are a neighborhood surrounded by 5 other neighborhoods that this is affecting. We have 254 neighbors that have signed the petition that Sarah gave you in opposition to this. These neighbors who will all be affected by your decision. And I was talking to your office today and about the petitions, and I was informed too that you would be looking at the petitions to see if the people that are on this list are included on our petition. And there are 14 that we have on our petition of the 23. So I don't know if you have any other oppositions, but at least we have 14 thus far of the initial letter sent out. And then my closing point is we have signed the petition for all affected, we who have all signed this are affected by your decision today. And we as neighbors stand together and oppose this for numerous reasons, many of them that you're going to hear after me. This does nothing to enhance the quality of life for us or our neighbors or our community, only to detract from it. And it has a negative impact on our community. Thank you for listening.
I'm Bill Youngblood. I live at 6732 LaPorte Road. I own the 50 acres exactly to the east of this development. And I am curious to what you're going to do with all the water that's going to come off this development, because Cedar Knoll, the city of Waterloo, has already overloaded the water system down there already. And are you going to take responsibility for the water to get it all the way to the Cedar River? That's my biggest concern is water.
This is Schrader with staff. The water would continue to flow in its current direction. It would have to be detained. So as part of any development of this site, including the proposed campground development, there would be stormwater detention, essentially a basin that will slow down the water, slow down the rate at which it is released, so significantly improving it over current farm field conditions.
So you're going to put in a detention pond at the northeast corner of to hold all the water.
The applicant's current site plan, which is part of the rezone and was withdrawn.
He has no retention pond.
His current site plan labels a detention pond in the middle of the site.
That doesn't do any good up where he's got a retention pond. They needed it clear down at the bottom lowest point, not up in the high middle point.
Yep. He'll have to drain all water into that detention facility. All runoff created by increased impermeable surface.
Pump it uphill. As long as they,
Is the city engineer on the call?
Yes, I am.
Can you address any of these questions?
Currently, what the city ordinance requires is that the development retains the difference in water, the amount of water between the 5-year storm, basically that runs off of a grassed area, and that's what it's going to be treated as, a grassed area, but a 5-year storm, which is a normal storm that we get. And then they have to detain that amount from that up to the 100-year storm when they have the site fully developed. That volume of water has to be held on site and let out at a very specific rate, at the same rate that it would come off a normal lawn. You are still going to see the same volume of water come off the site, but you will see it. I love the cat, by the way. But you will see the same volume of water come off of the site. It will just come off at a much slower rate, at a much over a longer period of time. So we require them to meet these requirements, and he will either have to grade his site accordingly so that everything drains to it. He could have multiple detention ponds, but that's really up to the developer and his engineer to determine how best they want to do it. But they will have to submit that plan and that drainage report to the engineering department, and we will review it and comment, and we won't approve it until he has met the requirements of our ordinance.
Thank you. But I guess at this time, we're just looking at the potential to even annex the property.
Okay.
So we're not to the phase of having a site plan yet or anything like that. So, but at this point, we're just discussing annexation, I
Right.
believe.
And I was never approached by the applicant at all either.
At all, okay. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Chris Leonard. I live at 3133 Violet Drive. It's in the Southdale Association area. I've been there, me and my wife Sharon have been there for 36 years. We've experienced the water problems that happen. We actually have experienced ourselves with a backup of sewage and water, okay? I am against this annexing of this particular piece of land. Number one, because of urban sprawl. The city of Waterloo is wanting to annex this, and there is a Iowa Corn suitability rating that there's an average of 88.25783, and that means that is very good for raising corn, okay? And I also feel that we need a land evaluation and site assessment made and reported to us about the rating of that, which I'm not quite for sure if it's been done yet, but it should be done. Okay. And if the ordinance, and that's under the ordinance of the Blackhawk County zoning ordinance number 36, and it's in section 8. And given the rating, we should be able to determine whether that land is actually being used correctly for agricultural use.
This is Schrader with staff. I can just answer that. The land evaluation site assessment LISA system, that is a ordinance of Blackhawk County. If this land were annexed, this land would no longer be subject to that ordinance. It would become within the city of Waterloo and subject to the requirements of the city of Waterloo zoning ordinance, which does not have a land evaluation site assessment piece.
Does the city of Waterloo have an environmental study done on the site?
The city of Waterloo would only do environmental studies if there was reasonable concern that there was an environmental issue.
Okay.
We would not have any reason to suspect that the proposed campground would create any environmental issue.
Well, also, I'm questioning why the city of Waterloo feels that it needs to add additional land to its already 60.7 square miles. It's just ridiculous that Waterloo has that much land to have to be caring for, okay? And with a population of 67,798, the ratio is fairly skewed, okay? Other cities in Iowa with similar populations seem to have a lot smaller footprint, okay? We're talking about Ames, Iowa, with a population of 67,154, has a footprint of 30.1 square miles. West Des Moines, 66,641 people, okay, with a footprint of 48.7 square miles. Ankeny, Iowa, places that are growing, much more than Waterloo. 65,284. They have 30.1 square miles of footprint. Council Bluffs, the same thing. 62,421 people. Footprint 45,000 or 45.5 square miles. Dubuque is a lot less populated, but they still just have a footprint of 31.7 square miles. All being considered, the larger square miles we have in this city, the more we have to take care of, the more infrastructure that has to be maintained. At this point, this city is not taking care of the infrastructure that we already have. It's falling apart. It's old. You have problems with the federal government as far as sewer. Where does this end? I'm asking you to deny annexation of this property. Thank you. Any questions? Do you have these studies about the suitability, corn suitability? I don't think you do you? You can have them. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is Commissioner Leistico. Does staff know if George Witt is within our city limits and included in that land area total?
This is Anderson with staff. So, yes, the majority of it is. Basically, the area east of Highway 58 is in Waterloo. The area west is in Cedar Falls.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Lisa Hagedorn. I live in the Westdale Addition at 5807 Cimarron Lane. I have concerns on the watershed, experienced because we have been flooded. We're on the corner of Larkspur and Deizert. All the water goes to that point, the lowest point. We got 6 inches of rain in an hour. The water came up at least 4 or 5 foot from the road, on top of Deizert Road, on top of it. Rushed to our house and we're totally surrounded by it. Blew our windows out. This is a serious problem. And the other housing additions water also come over into ours. There is a terrible problem out there, and if we add more houses, more buildings, more concrete, the water is just coming our way. And they're doing a swale system now over by us. I don't know if that will help. I hope it will. But to come find out, the piping that they're putting in is bigger over here by us, but going into the other addition, it's still small. They wouldn't spend the money to get the bigger piping. The city wouldn't. I mean, there's concerns. There's so many kids. There's so many people walking out there. Somebody's going to get killed on Deizert Road, I'm telling you. That road needs to get brought down to 30 miles an hour. And those are my concerns. Thank you.
Thank you. And I would suggest that you bring, the speed limit changes and to the city council. They're the ones that can act on that.
Yes, exactly.
Mhm.
We live right on the corner. We see it from our house every day.
I believe you.
Going to get killed.
Mhm. I totally believe you. I'm just saying that we have no authority to act on any of that.
Then I will
Only
do
the
that.
council does. So they meet on Monday nights right here. Is it every other Monday? Or is it every Monday?
First and third.
First and third Mondays? Because I think you'd get a better ear there that would be applicable than our ear. No problem. Yeah.
No, this is Commissioner Wilbur. I know Deizert technically is at Shawless, but is that, they do connect there further north. Is that at all part of any future plans to deal with what's going on Shawless and kind of that remodel in a different phase or anything?
I'll let Jamie answer any plans for Deizert.
Sorry, Virginia, where exactly are you talking?
So when you take Deizert further north, it eventually connects to Shawless, which then curves around.
Yes.
And I know there's been that plan to redo that whole kind of corridor and raise that part up. Is there any plan, like a future phase or any discussion of a plan for the future in terms of Deizert Road and some of these issues?
Yeah, we are currently, as part of the Shawless Road reconstruction project from Hess to 218, the Deizert, Shawless, 218, that intersection there, that goofy intersection, we are making improvements to add turn lanes. We're also doing improvements to the traffic signals there. We're also adding traffic signals along Shawless Road. But yes, we are making some traffic improvements there at the intersection itself.
Is it going to extend further, or is there any discussion of potentially looking at or reviewing it further south then on Deizert?
No, nothing at this point in time, no.
Virginia, Dave Boson here. I've addressed the speed limit on Deizert Road with Sandy Greco, and they're trying to put together a traffic study, but Deizert's been closed 3 summers in a row now. So it's making it possible to do an accurate study. So we've got to get, it was closed for Cunningham Construction to rebuild the first half and the second half, and then they haven't been out to do it. And as soon as this intersection's done, I'll be readdressing that issue.
No, could everyone there hear that?
Yes, they could. Yes.
Okay.
I get to go?
Yep, go ahead.
I have these pictures. There's just 2 pictures for you guys to kind of portray a little bit about what our area does look like. Oh, yep. So my name is Lindsay Klein, and I live at 3143 Marigold Drive. And although some of my neighbors have lived in this area a long time, I'm probably one of the younger ones that has lived there also the longest, because I've lived in this area and in this neighborhood for about 28 years. So I understand what everyone else is saying with their concerns. But currently I am still a resident of Southdale. And today I want to explain to you how the proposed area that wants for annexation, I read the annexation proposal, and it does talk about how the area is becoming more recreational, but I would actually have to disagree with that. It still is mostly residential and agricultural, including we have our 2 neighborhoods in the trailer court, but there was also a large neighborhood built out there recently too. So there's 3 neighborhoods just in that section, along with 2 trailer courts. And then the recreational area is about 2.5–3 miles away, including the Shawless Road Trail, which I saw that was mentioned in there. So that's about a 5-minute drive. And if you wanted to walk to the trail, that's about an hour walk to there. So I don't feel that proximity-wise that we would be considered something that's recreational. I feel that when we look at annexing that area with the idea that eventually it's going to be going from agricultural to commercial, that it does not fit with what's out there. What's out there is agricultural and residential. I just want to talk about my pictures that I gave you, the first picture is the back part of Violet Drive. And with the idea in mind that after, if the annexation is passed, that the owner would like to make this into a campground. So this road is what's in the 200-foot buffer. And as you can see, they are well-maintained houses and yards. Many of the houses in this buffer have young children who are active outside. And it's evident because the amount of play sets, toys, sports equipment. Annexing the area across from them, and with the idea that it would be a possible commercial planned area, will have a negative impact on the safety of their families, as well as their sewer system and environment with increased traffic. And not only that, it will affect all of us, me including. I have a 2-year-old. Eventually, she's going to be riding a bike. She's going to be walking around. My mom lives in the neighborhood also, so she'll be walking there with the idea that there will be increased traffic even through our residential roads, because sometimes it's a quicker access to get to the other side instead of the stop signs. Then there's a second picture that I've included. This shows the view from Dahlia. That's only because you're talking about a sewer system that is already out there. And because I've lived there for 28 years in the area, I grew up on Dahlia, and I understand what it's like to have the sewer system and the rain alone come up into our basement. One of the very first time that our house did flood, I was sleeping downstairs, and it flooded while I was sleeping because we were supposed to have a tornado, so we slept downstairs. And ever since then, water's come up that drain. And there's nothing, now there's nothing across the way, but the plan is, if you approve this, that there will be in the future for this builder, in his mind, hopefully. So in summary, this area is a residential and agricultural area, and the land in the proposed annexation is still fertile, and it's still producing crops. As you make your decision for annexing, please consider, is annexing farmable land into the city with the intention that it might be a commercial area going to benefit Waterloo, or will it place a strain on our already existing resources? I feel that as the City Planning, Programming, Zoning Commission, this annexation, with the idea in mind that it could be commercial, will not positively impact the city's resources. It will negatively impact our resources. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah, my name is Melvin Whitwer. I live in the Southdale Addition, actually since '88 at least, and I'm against this too for a lot of reasons. But let's talk about sewers. That's a hot topic right now. The residents of Southdale Addition are kind of a little bit gun shy about backups. You've heard a little bit of it before, sanitary sewer backups. And to tell you a little bit of the history where that came from is there was a lift station at the intersection of 218 South and Orange Road. And some years ago, for a lot of years, that lift station wasn't adequate. And he was getting a lot of groundwater infiltration from an adjacent area that was never developed, but the manholes was put in, and some of the lids were taken off, so there's getting a lot of infiltration in there, and it was backing up into a lot of the houses. Eventually, though, the city replaced that and put in a lift station with more capacity, all right? And that helped the problem. And then a few years ago, they completely took us off that main line. I reached out to Randy Bennett from the sanitary department, because I was kind of curious what the size of the main was that ran from from Southdale Addition on out to the water treatment plant. And so I discovered that they actually had taken us off of that lift station, but he acknowledged the fact that the lift station still continues to have overflow problems and high flow rate events. So the bottom line is you can't attach any more sewage to that particular point. So this addition, that'd be annexed, whatever they're gonna put out there, because right now, I guess it's a campground, but we don't know, right? I mean, we're just approving the annexation. So at any rate, okay, so what I'm concerned about is if you can't use that point for sewage, the only other alternative is to use a location up by Dahlia, all right? And connect directly into the Southdale addition and to drain everything that would be annexed in that 77-acre area. I mean, it could be a high-rise hotel, or it could be a golf course right now, right? And if it's a golf course, it'd probably be fine, but if it's a high-rise, or if there's a lot of buildings added in facilities, the sewer couldn't probably carry the load at Dahlia. And so it could potentially require a major investment on the part of the city. Now, I assume the only reason they want to annex this is for city services, correct? And so is the city prepared to a major investment just so that can be annexed? You could possibly require, it could be as bad as you may need a new main. You may need a lift station. Now, who pays for that? The city, taxpayers, or the developer? Don't know. But there needs to be a lot of engineering work done before you can make any decisions. I don't see how you can annex something without a plan. Who come up with that idea? I mean, you can't even, it's difficult for us to even come up with a good argument. I mean, I've seen the site plan, and it's pretty lame. It's not to scale. There's no surveys being done. There's no engineering studies attached to it. It looks like something on a cocktail napkin. So, the 450 sites that they're proposing, first of all, that would be a lot of drainage that you'd have to deal with. You agree? 450 sites plus 24 cabins? Well, you're never going to see that, first of all, because if you think about it, KOA, they have something like 130. In all these years, they've never been at full capacity. I drive by there every day. And maybe on 4th of July, they may get up to 50%. So this guy thinks he's going to put a campground in and have 450 sites. So did he have to propose that so he could get high enough return on investment to justify his expense? Okay, maybe he will, but I would certainly doubt it. I mean, Adventureland only has, 286. That's Adventureland. And this guy wants 450, you know. So I'm against it because it hasn't had a lot of thought put into it. And I think the board should take that in consideration and reject the proposal completely. Thank you.
Hi. Ben Coots, 2718 Violet Drive. I promised my neighbors I would come speak to you, and they've hit on most of the topics I was going to discuss, but I thought I am a man of my word, so I'm going to get up here and still talk to you about a couple different things. One of them is the safety issue that a lot of it is kind of weighs on some of our neighbors is the police presence that is out in the neighborhood. They're almost to zero. I do know our neighborhood police officer, Officer Wirtz. I know him very well. I coach his son at baseball. But a lot of times during the summer, over the last couple of years, there has been incidences where young kids, 12, 14, 15, come strolling over from the mobile home park, and myself and a couple of buddies have stopped them from breaking into cars and had to call police. I can only imagine what 450 campsites is going to do when mom and dad have a couple too many cocktails and the kids wander off and decide to go for a little adventure. Also, there was a death July 11th, 2016, at that corner of Deizert Road and Orange Road. The Freightliners that are coming back and forth on Deizert Road, obviously, Mr. Bozen said he's going to get a traffic study done when the road is finished. But those are a couple other issues that are going on. The speed limit of 45 is outrageous. That will need to be changed. I have 2 boys myself. Any given day in our neighborhood, you can find a neighborhood football game going on. You can find the kids riding bikes. You can see a baseball game going on, basketball, street hockey. There's a lot of young kids that live in our neighborhood on the West Dell side and on the South Dell side. So when my wife and I decided to move out there 10 years ago, there was a bunch of our friends that decided to move out there as well. And we decided this is where we want to raise our kids. There's a place where we can have our kids run around the neighborhood. It's fine. All of them get along. It's kind of like when we were kids ourselves. So these are just a couple of the reasons why we like it kind of nice and quiet out there. And that's really about all I got. You guys have anything for me? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Lori Glover. I live at 2710 Violet Drive. I moved out there about 7 years ago, and for the same reason. I wanted to still stay in the city of Waterloo, but yet have some peace and quiet. And everything everybody has said here is absolutely true. The traffic has increased, and that's mainly because of the road closures on Deizert and Shawless, but it's also with the KOA, the amusement park that'll be opening, the casino. It's just a lot. And to add another campground there is just way too much. I also wanted to ask a question. When you went to the tech review committee, were there any concerns from police and fire? Were they represented at tech review? Were there any concerns from police and fire about additional being out there?
This is Anderson with staff. John is saying, I was not at the meeting, so John is saying that fire had no concerns and police did not note any either.
Okay. We do have concerns, again, with the traffic issues. And there has been an upgrade to Deizert Road, and I want to thank Jamie Knutson for taking care of that because that road was really bad. But there's a lot of traffic on there now, and especially the dump trucks that are going out to BMG aggregates south on Deizert Road. So if at all possible, there's a lot of people here who are against the annexation, and we do realize that the other part is coming, but it doesn't make any sense to those of us who live out there. Thanks.
Hello, my name's Matt Abbin. I live at 4500 Hess Road. I just so happen to be the general manager of 4550 of the Waterloo KOA campground. We are generally supportive of economic development and the expansion on a tax base. However, there would appear to be quite a lot of campgrounds and sites already available in this area, and it has taken us many years to finally get enough of our sites filled routinely to even break even. This season is the first since we've opened 9 years ago. Adding another campground so close would split the available demand further and only dilute the chance of anyone operating successfully. So for this reason, we oppose the project. And as long as everybody is talking about the water issue, I recently had a hydrant that busted. It was 750,000 gallons of water that was pumped into the ground.
Anyone else want to speak today?
My name is Bob Muse. I used to live up in the Southdale Addition, so I know what the problems was with the storm sewers and stuff like that. Sorry, guys, I bailed on you. So I currently live at 5925 Folk Road. So I'm on the bottom of the hill. I get all this water, and that comes in there. And as we all know, climate is changing. Rain events are worse than they used to be. It's not, you can't control that. Mother Nature, you can't control. You can't control her with a detention. She'll overrun that detention. But my big thing right now, I think this campground is a smokescreen. I thought it was taken off. Have you read the special permit for a campsite? Have you gone through that, see what the city is liable for and what they have to put in there, and as far as requirements for the sewer, water, and stuff? It's quite detailed, and I don't think the city wants to get into that. And then once again, I'm a farm boy too, and that is good ground. And it's on us when we take it out of production. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Well, is there anyone?
Oh, sorry.
I was going to ask you the same thing.
There is no one else approaching.
Okay. Mr. Lawson, did you want to speak on any of these items again?
Yeah, so I can understand the water runoff again. With the water events, the water would stay on the south side of Orange Road. And obviously the gentleman that has the concern to the east of us would be addressed. I understand the traffic conditions. And again, with us being south of Orange Road, you know, both those neighborhoods to the north, obviously the traffic would increase regardless on Deizert and Orange Road. And I wouldn't think that anybody would want to be on that road, on those two roads regardless. But yes, the concern of the water runoff obviously would be handled through the engineering process and everything, and obviously for water retention. That's why we pulled the planning and zoning so that the sewer situation can be addressed. If that's not addressed, then obviously we would not be considered it anyway. Again, I would make sure that, again, that this campground would be developed in a professional way, and obviously that there would not be an eyesore. We've talked about setting up, planting trees and bushes along the north side of that portion of the property so that that is being blocked from the road for the view. And then obviously we would be directing traffic. That's why we have the entrance on the very southwest corner of the property so that all the traffic then is down that way, not towards the intersection as well too.
This is Commissioner Wilbur. Have you done any market studies in terms of the number of spaces that you're anticipating and what the manager, owner of KOA was speaking to in regards to a market for a campground of this size?
Yeah, so we are, with the layout that we have right now, our proposed layout, the amount of sites that we would be doing would be 179 sites with electric, water, and sewage, 200 sites with just electric and water, and then 30 campground sites for tents, and then obviously, yes, the cabin rentals. With the increase of the water park population and with the increase of the amusement park attendance as well too, the camping, and also along with the camping increase, I guess the number of people that have campers, obviously again is going to keep going. So again, we believe that the need would be for campers in Black Hawk County for places to go camping. So that is why we have done the market study through the Black Hawk Economic Development System, obviously with our business proposal and everything. And again, and yes, the amusement park is a factor as far as the number of people that will be attending that amusement park when that opens as well too, to handle the additional tourism that will be coming to the area.
This is Flynn, and you mentioned the sites with sewer. So typically, I know I am not a sewer expert whatsoever, but with a trailer, you have a dump site, for the sewer? Is that correct? Is that what you're?
Yes,
Okay.
we will have a dump site for the campers to use when they are leaving the facility, but we will also have a certain amount of sites that will have a sewer hookup as well too, that they can hook up at the site.
So where are you proposing that the dump site would run to? Where would that flow to?
That will flow with the other sewer connection points to the north portion of our property, then which we would then hook into the Delilah sewage connection port. Or
Thank you.
Delilah, sorry. And I can understand the water concerns. Again, the stormwater situation would stay south of Orange Road. And yes, we would have a retention pond that we are going to put on the site that would retain the water under that area. And as the engineer stated, we would have a runoff policy just that would obviously conform with the city rules to have that water flow go off of the property into the ditch and flow down to the ditch as if it was a normal drainage situation. We do not plan on putting any cement on that property as well too, so that as much water as possible then goes through the ground and not as a development with roads and driveways and stuff like that.
Any other questions by the commission?
I have a question for Mr. Lawson.
Yes. State your name again, please.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, this is Mel Whitwer again. And the question I had, he said he proposed that the sewage would go to the Dahlia connection, correct?
That's what he
Is that what we
stated.
heard?
Mhm.
Well, he can't, how's he gonna drain everything? He'd have to have a lift station pump it back up the hill. Understand? Because everything all that land is downhill. And so all the sewage has to be funneled to one place and then probably pumped back up the hill to get to Dahlia. So now there's a lift station that somebody's got to provide. Well, obviously you. Are you prepared for that? He's not on the line.
That was for you, Mr. Lesson. Are you still there?
Yes, the proposal that we have set with the city of Waterloo, we would have all the sewage go to a retaining area, and then yes, we would be pumping it then up into the connection port that we would be paying for.
Okay, thank you.
Hey,
Someone's here.
Hi, my name is Michael Tompkins. I live at 5819 Dahlia Boulevard. I wanted to discuss about the drainage pipe in our system. Each of our houses has a pipe like this coming out, not this size, but you know what I'm saying.
Not that small, no.
Yeah, right. Right. Which should run into a pipe this size, correct?
In
Well, it
theory,
doesn't.
yes, in theory.
It doesn't. It runs into one of these, the same size. So we cannot take that much more water coming through when we don't have a pipe this size. We have another one this size that all these run into. We already discussed this before, but this is what we have. So we can't afford more water. I've already got a pit downstairs with a sump pump in it that continuously runs. So unless they can figure this out, I don't see how it can continually, handle anything more than this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dennis Paulson, 2711 Violet. I heard Mr. Lussum say there'd be no concrete. You take 450 vehicles, probably more. what are you going to do? Gravel? Dust? Mud? Are you serious? I mean, I hope that when you think about this annexation, this is just one step closer to a circus. That's what we're taking here. We're taking the path, if we vote for this, to put in a circus. It's a low rent operation, and he's basically trying to cram it down our throats. And I think we'll all pay for it, not just us. I live in those additions. We're all going to pay for it. The city's going to pay for it.
Thank you. Someone's approaching the mic.
I just have a question for Mr. Lusson. Are you only building your campground because of the Lost Island theme park going in?
That has been a consideration for us wanting to put this campground in, but also due to the shortage of available campground sites in the Blackhawk County and the increase of people owning campers in obviously the Midwest, and then obviously too with the increased tourism that we will plan to see in the city of Waterloo.
Well, just to let you know, my campground has 180 sites, 13 cabins, and I'm also owned by the same company that is putting in the water park and the theme park, and I cannot fill up, and I offer discount tickets.
Monica
Is
Ambrose
there
on
anyone else there that?
819 Dahlia
sorry.
Boulevard again. I guess I have to address, I heard Mr. Lucen said this wouldn't be an eyesore, this campground. He also owns K&W Paintball on Airline Highway. I don't know if any of you, I know this is just an annexing thing, so I didn't bring the pictures or everything of how that looks like. But the adjacent property is Palmer's, Goofy Golfing or whatever, and that's really maintained, lit, and trimmed. But his place is overgrown. There's completely full-grown trees from the road to the whole ditch is overgrown with brush, including his like handmade sign with 2x4s. There's out there's part of the paintball attraction or whatever. There's just rusting out semi-trailers. There's like plywood things put up that's rotten and deteriorating and rotten. There's tarps laying on the ground all over there. There's netting that's just hanging off there. So, I mean, if that's what we're going to have to deal with in our neighborhood is looking at something like that. If you look at his K&W Paintball on Airline Highway, that's my concerns. Once you annex it and open it up for him to start this whole process to get this campground in, then it's just going to go this whole way, and we'll be dealing with it for years. So, thank you.
There is no one else coming up.
Okay. Any questions from the commission or discussion?
This is Commissioner Leistico. I would just like to point out that we've spent a considerable amount of time working on the next future land use plan. And in that plan, we've kind of made it a goal to keep urban sprawl to a minimum. With that said, regardless of what that 70-something acres gets used for, we're not prepared for it to be used for anything other than growing corn. And I'll leave it at that.
This is Holdeman. I'm going to make a motion that we deny the request for annexation.
I will second it. Surfling.
Okay. Is there more discussion?
I do think as a commission, we do want to be careful in hindering future growth. I personally believe that there is not enough prep work done in this situation, but Just like when we had the movie theater, the outdoor movie theater, sometimes we have to take a little innovation and creativity and go outside the box. But I do believe in this situation that there was not enough back prep work done. I would like to see the traffic study. I'd like to really see the sewer and the water issues addressed in that area before we would annex anything there. But with that said, I am all for growth of Waterloo, and I do appreciate the developer considering this, but at this point, I don't think it's in the mature enough phases.
I mirror Commissioner Flynn's responses.
And this is Commissioner Wilbur. I would echo those as well.
Yes, this is Commissioner Dunan. At this time, I echo previous commissioner responses, and at this time, I would be voting against this item.
Okay, one moment. We are going to do a roll call vote on this. So is there any further discussion? Okay, then we'll start with the roll call. Eric, you said that you are in favor of the motion, which is to deny the annexation request.
Yes, I vote to deny the annexation request.
Okay. Cody?
I vote yes to deny the application.
Patricia?
I vote yes, we deny the voluntary annexation.
Okay, Sue?
I vote yes to deny the annexation.
Craig?
Yes to deny.
And the chair votes the same, yes to deny. So the motion is carried.
So for everyone here, this is a recommending body, so we will talk to the applicant to see if he wants to move ahead to city council and try to keep you informed of that process.
Thank you all for coming and expressing your opinions.
Thank you. It makes a difference.
No, does that include notification to the neighborhood association then that was present south for sale south?
Yes, it would.
We'll notify the neighborhood association, she said. Of if they would move to council.
What did you do, Craig?
If he would want to go to council, they'll let you know that. Because we're just a
This is just a
recommending
recommending
body,
body,
they're
so
voting bottle.
the way the
They're
ordinances
paid,
are
we're
set
not.
up, yep, the council.
If he would go, he may not go after we've denied.
Thank you for coming, all of you.
We haven't closed
It makes a
it.
difference.
Thank you for hearing us.
All right. Are there any other discussion items for this evening?
Sorry, we can't hear you.
Staff does
No.
not have any further discussion items.
I don't think we do unless
Okay.
anybody on the phone does.
Oh, okay, so then do we have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
I'll move life to go.
Okay. Alderman, all
have
those in
that
favor,
down.
state aye.
Aye.
When's
Aye.
the next meeting?
Any opposed? All right. Next meeting, motion is carried. Next meeting is October 12th. Thank you to everyone who was on the call and all the staff and all the logisticals for making the Zoom happen.
Thank
Have a
you.
good night,
Thank you.
everyone.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye. What'd you do to